To do. I am going to start presenting. My name is Lachelle Cunningham. Thank you and welcome to everyone here attending this webinar so that we can teach you about this new program we're launching at the Good Acre called VoCul. It's our vocational culinary training program. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We are on a webinar, and so participants or attendees, we won't be able to see or hear you. So if you do have questions, we do have room for a Q&A at the end, but there's also a Q&A section at the bottom of your screen that you can type any questions and communicate in, and Anna will be monitoring that and getting back to you. And then towards the end, we'll circle back and answer any questions that need to be addressed. And we do have several panelists on with us today to talk from our community partners, Casa de Esperanza, and still waiting on our other organizational partner, Meg from Cornerstone, so she may be able to make it on. And then we have our school partners with Roseville area schools. We have Maria Anderson. And Maria, you can hear?
I can. Can you
All
hear
right,
me?
you're here. Yep, I can hear you. And then we have Bertrand and Kate Siebold from Minneapolis Public Schools. And so there will be a section there where they will talk about their perspectives in the program. So I'm getting in. I hope this person calling me isn't someone trying to get into the training.
Lachelle, I'll just interrupt you for a second. Sarahi asked if you'd give her a couple minutes to interpret as you go.
Okay, yeah. Why don't you take a couple minutes? Ooh, sorry, I'm clicking too fast. Take a couple minutes to interpret. I'm going to mute it myself for a second. And no, I'm not, because they hung up. Okay, never mind. All right. Let me know when you're ready for me to proceed.
Thank you, Lachelle.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, su nombre es Lachelle y ella es la persona que va a estar haciendo el entrenamiento vocacional culinario, y ella va a estar dándonos más detalles a cómo va avanzando la presentación. Si tienen preguntas, por favor, va a haber un tiempo al final de la presentación para que puedan hacer preguntas. Por lo pronto vamos a dejar que nos dé más información. Go ahead, Lachelle.
Oh, that mouse was tricky. So trying to get myself back off of mute. All right. So yeah, just a little bit about me. As I said, I am Lachelle Cunningham, the Culinary Education Manager at the Good Acre. I'm the one who is really piloting, spearheading this program, and will be the main instructor for at least our first cohort and the first and second cohort of the pilot. Just so you know a little bit of background for me, I'm a chef. I've been in the food industry here locally in the Twin Cities for about almost 10 years. I helped launch Breaking Bread Cafe in North Minneapolis, which is a part of a food justice organization, and then also have my own businesses. One is a catering business I started years ago called Shell's Kitchen, which is actually not functioning right now due to pandemic, but I also have an organization called the Healthy Roots Institute, where I do culinary and other food business education. And now I here just joined the staff at the Good Acre to do culinary education specifically for our farm to school programming, as well as developing this vocational culinary training program. And so that's a little bit about me, just making sure. I'll have you go ahead and translate.
Sí, un poquito sobre ella. Lachelle es chef, lleva 10 años en el área de comida. También ha tenido sus propios negocios de comida, donde ella también distribuye comida que ella misma prepara. Su enfoque ha sido también educación y entrenamiento, y más recientemente se ha integrado a Good Acre, donde está haciendo el entrenamiento vocacional. Go ahead, Lachelle.
Awesome. So a little bit of background about the Good Acre and the work that we're doing that kind of led up to this program. The Good Acre is a food hub founded in 2014. So we've been around almost about 6 years now. And basically our mission is to connect and strengthen farmers, food makers, and communities through food. We do a lot of different initiatives with that out of our facility in Falcon Heights, warehouse, teaching kitchen, or a kitchen ultimately for food makers, and where we'll be doing a lot of the training, the hands-on training for the course, and other initiatives and programs that we run related to food systems there. You can learn more information about the Good Acre at our website, thegoodacre.org. But in our work, we've been doing the farm to school work, and basically throughout that work have really identified some of the challenges that schools and school districts have ultimately in their shortage of trained staff to really prepare locally sourced produce. And so that's really what led us to develop this program, and doing so through sponsorship and a grant funding through the Cargill Foundation. And so really got that funding to help us really develop and create this model and build it to a sustainable program. And so I'll stop there because I don't want to say too much before you get a chance to.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bueno, ella, en resumen, habla un poquito sobre la organización de Good Acre. Good Acre es una organización que trabaja con granjeros y con comida que los granjeros producen. Parte del trabajo que ella hace es con las escuelas también de Minneapolis, las escuelas también de varios distritos. Este trabajo del que ella hace también es en identificar que ha habido dificultades manteniendo lo que viene siendo la comida sana dentro de las escuelas y el uso de comida fresca, y es ahí donde se les ocurrió la idea de empezar a utilizar la comida de los granjeros que tiene Good Acre o con los que trabaja Good Acre para poder llevar esa comida fresca hacia las escuelas de los diferentes distritos de Minnesota.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so just an overview of what VoCul is. As we said, Vocational Culinary Training Program. That's how we kind of came up with the fun name. It took us a second to nail something down. But ultimately, this program is really about connecting people, individuals who are seeking stable, well-paying jobs with job opportunities in school nutrition. We're really trying to focus on addressing the workforce shortage in schools to really be able to continue to improve the meal served and just the capacity for scratch cooking in schools. And so we've developed this program. It's a 14-week training program where we can address this shortage and ultimately help schools improve the nutrition. And so we'll talk more. I'll let you go ahead and translate that, Sarahi.
Yes. Parte del programa de Good Acre es el utilizar la comida que usan los granjeros en las escuelas, pero también el programa lo que va a tener como oportunidad es brindar trabajos que tengan buenos beneficios con buena paga y al mismo tiempo que las personas estén entrenando y estén aprendiendo sobre estas habilidades. María Ruiz, no, si falta algo, por favor, añade.
No, me parece de que sí es todo lo que hasta el momento ha estado platicando.
Okay, go ahead, Lachelle.
Awesome. All right. This whole thing is tricky. So as I mentioned, we got funding to pilot this program through the Cargill Foundation. And in that process of developing, putting the proposal together of what we would build for the program, we identified the partners that we wanted to work with to launch the program with. And so ultimately the intention is to really create a pipeline of skilled workers to go into the school nutrition services. But in order to pilot it, we wanted to kind of focus in on doing that with our community partners, which we have identified as on the community partner side, organizational partner side, it's Casa de Esperanza and Cornerstone Advocacy Services. And so these are the initial organizations that we are working with to recruit participants, and those would be the clients that are going through those programs and identified an interest in culinary and or careers in food service. And so working with them to kind of recruit our first cohort of attendees, and then, you know, really build on the model to grow that into something more sustainable, where we can recruit greater numbers of participants from, you know, a broader community. And then on the side of, you know, training and really creating this program, we basically developed it to train attendees or train participants, and then after the training, they would go into an internship in school nutrition services. And so we identified two school partners, two school districts to really work with to start piloting those internships, and ultimately looking at, you know, expanding from there. So those two school partners are Minneapolis Public Schools and Roseville Area Schools. All of our community and, well, someone from most or all of these organizations and school partners will be talking in a little bit when we get to that part of the presentation. But I've got about 10 minutes here that I want to kind of breeze through things. So I am gonna let you go ahead and translate, and then we can move forward.
Thank you. La Shell acaba de compartir que parte de la propuesta que ellos hicieron fue para proveer el entrenamiento a personas que ingresen o quieran ingresar a trabajos de servicios nutricionales, y que se pueda crear una, como un grupo de personas que vayan a poder entrenarse y ser parte de estos empleos para tener más que nada un equipo más sostenible en lo que viene siendo las carreras de nutrición. También ella estaba compartiendo que las personas con las que Good Acre está trabajando en estos momentos son con Casa de Esperanza, Cornerstone y dos escuelas o dos distritos de escuelas que son el distrito de Minneapolis y las escuelas de Roseville, con los que después del entrenamiento, las participantes que completen el entrenamiento van a poder hacer una pasantía en servicios nutricionales, y después pueden obtener un trabajo después de la pasantía.
Just a quick clarification about the internship. So after the 10-week training, we'll go into 4-week internships at the schools. And then after those internships, the idea is that those participants will graduate and then move into job placement in the schools. And then, you know, we're still kind of figuring out what that would look like with the pandemic and, you know, schools not all the way being back. But we'll be definitely figuring that out and ultimately looking forward to when schools are fully back in session.
Y ella quiere clarificar que son 10 semanas de entrenamiento, 4 semanas de pasantía en una de las escuelas de los distritos con los que están trabajando, y después ver la posibilidad de entrar a lo que viene siendo los empleos en las escuelas, pero todavía no se sabe cómo va a ser los trabajos, ya que todo por la pandemia ha cambiado un poco. Entonces, obviamente vamos a tener que seguir tomando esta conversación y ver cómo es que se va a ver el ingresar a uno de estos empleos.
Great. So, you know, we talked about what the benefits, you know, what we're looking to have an impact in schools and in increasing their capacity to provide nutritious meals to students. But, you know, also the benefits are great for the participants and ultimately those who go into careers in food service in schools. And so just this slide just talks about some of those benefits. You know, a lot of times in the food industry, it can be kind of grueling, you know, late night hours, long hours, you know, sometimes the pay isn't always as much as we want. And, you know, depending on where you go, you may or may not be cooking from scratch. And so this is a great opportunity to have daytime work hours, different part-time and full-time options. There's pay and benefits. Benefits is not usually something most people that work in restaurants may get. It's not a norm. And so that's a great benefit here, as well as, being able to have an impact in schools when it comes to cooking from scratch and using local ingredients, and ultimately, providing better nutrition options for students.
Hemos hablado de algunos beneficios que pueden proveer este tipo de programa y en referencias al empleo, los beneficios de trabajar en empleos donde se está trabajando bajo un distrito escolar quiere decir que ustedes contarán con horas de trabajo de día que puedan ser ya sean tiempo parcial o tiempo completo, buena paga, beneficios. También el hecho de cocinar con ingredientes naturales o ingredientes locales y también ser una mejor opción de comida y opciones en las escuelas de los estudiantes.
All right, so now I'm going to give you an overview of what the program is looking like at this point. So as I mentioned, it's a 10-week program. So for those first 10 weeks, we really had to look at, how we're going to administer this program, especially with the pandemic and just trying to be as safe as possible. And so we had to kind of go back to the drawing board on that and really redesign the program to be more flexible, and also really reducing the in-person contact, as, much of the program training was going to be a lot of hands-on in person. And right now, we just want to minimize that for safety and social distance and following social distancing guidelines. And so we will have some hands-on, but a lot of it, we're moving to an online culinary training a platform called Ruby. And so the components are going to be that culinary platform, like I said, Ruby. In addition, we will be studying Serve Safe and ultimately taking that exam for food safety manager certification. And then because we are specifically tailored this program to be for school nutrition services, we do have specific content in the training around school nutrition guidelines and functions and how that works. Quickly want to just, in the interest of time, do a really quick show of what Ruby looks like. So this is the platform we're using for Ruby, and ultimately throughout the course there's 2 foundational levels that will go through, level 1 and 2, and you can kind of see here, this is level 1. There are 10 units in the level, in just level 1, and I think there might be more than that. I think there's like 13 or 14 in the level 2. But just showing you here, each level kind of goes through, and they're kind of set up similarly. At the beginning of the whole level, you get an orientation to the course, and there's these different tasks that you go through. And then once you get into each unit is broken down in kind of a unit orientation, and then some specific items regarding the unit topic. And then at the end of each unit, there's a review, quiz, an assessment, and an activity. A lot of, so there's activities that require hands-on. And so what I've done is coordinated those to happen during our weekly lab sessions. And so in the interest of time, I was going to kind of go into these units, but I'm not because we're running short on time. So I'm going to move forward. But the way that the routine is broken down is that on a weekly basis, we will have a lecture through a Zoom, online lecture. It'll usually be around 2 hours, but I know the first session is going to be a little longer, up to 4 hours, because there'll be orientation and a lot of content to get through. And then, what happened here? And then we will have an in-person cooking lab. 1 day per week, and we will be kind of separating that out. So we'll only have half of the cohort in each lab. So only have 4 people in the lab at a time, so that we can socially distance and be safe. And then there's a lot of content outside of Ruby that is and homework and assignments and things like that are really self-directed readings, activities, tasks, and assessments. And that ultimately would be around 16 to 20 hours a week of self-directed work. So total, we're looking at about 28 hours a week total, including the lecture, the lab, and all of the remote work that needs to get done. But I'll let you kind of try to summarize that. I don't know that you need to go in every detail, but.
Yes, thank you, Lachelle. Lachelle acaba de compartir que el entrenamiento de las semanas del 1 al 10 van a estar usando un currículum que se llama Rubik's, que va a ser en línea. Parte de ese currículum va a ser la lectura que viene siendo personal. La mayoría del tiempo o de la semana van a estar pasando alrededor de 16 a 20 horas trabajando por ustedes mismas con el currículum de Rubik's, y las otras 8 horas va a ser en la cocina practicando en persona. Por la pandemia y por el distanciamiento social, lo que van a hacer es dividirse en grupos pequeños y utilizar la cocina en diferentes días para permitir el distanciamiento social.
Thank you. And so that is ultimately the training elements. And then following the training, we're looking at doing 4 weeks of internships in the schools. And that will also be up to 28 hours a week of on-the-job training. We're still looking at when that can actually start with the pandemic happening. And so ideally we want it to happen right away after the new year. But again, we're going to play that one by ear, and we'll have more details once we get all of that stuff ironed out, with schools kind of being in a bit of uncertainty about the long term. But that's what we're looking at for that. And so I'll let you go ahead and translate.
La pasantía va a durar 4 semanas, alrededor de las mismas horas por semana, que serían alrededor de 28 horas. Después del año nuevo es cuando ya van a escuchar qué es lo que va a pasar con las pasantías, si van a ser en personas, cómo se van a ver, pero por lo pronto el currículum y todo el material que viene siendo la lectura va a ser remotamente.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so then after the internships are complete, this is when we will get into the graduation piece. And, we want to be able to do some sort of, in-person physical graduation and have a dinner curated by the students, and really have a ceremony where they'll get their certificates and go through all of that pomp and circumstance. Right now, we're not solidifying that at this point with the pandemic, but once graduation does happen, and we'll figure out what that looks like, whether it be in-person graduation, or maybe it could be an online graduation ceremony, and maybe we could somehow have the students curate food that we get out to people. Not promising anything at this point, but that's kind of what I'm thinking in my head. But once they are done with graduation, the goal of the program is to connect them with job placement in the schools and really collaborate with those partners to create pathways for employment and ultimately, career pathways for professional development. All of this really depends on the schools and what their needs are at that time. So I'll let you go ahead and translate that.
Después de la pasantía, lo que va a pasar, si obviamente la pandemia permite, va a ser la graduación, donde se les va a entregar un certificado y también van a celebrar los logros que han completado durante las 14 semanas. Lachelle estaba compartiendo que en realidad la meta de este programa es de que obtengan trabajos en las escuelas, pero también vamos a ver cómo se va a ver eso después de la graduación.
Great. So next slide. So we do have a frequently asked questions on the website. So if you go to the Good Acre and go to our programs here, there's a drop down that will actually take you. I think I can actually go here to show you really quickly. So you can go here. There's a lot of information. If you want to share the program with people, you can send them here to the website. And we do have, you know, the frequently asked questions piece. The one piece I did want to share, because this is a paid program, and I didn't emphasize that as much, but participants are actually paid to be involved. And so this is a little bit of the information about that. There's a weekly stipend of around $15 an hour, or of $15 an hour, based on students, you know, putting in those hours. So it's about a $420 a week stipend. We also will be furnishing the equipment needed, as well as, you know, all of the things we need for the ServSafe certification, and administering that exam, as well as any other supplies and uniforms that we need for in-person labs. In addition to the $15 an hour, we do have extra funds available for transportation and or childcare, as people may need. Participants may need assistance with that, and so we'll have a process for requesting those additional funds, and so we'll work that out at that time. Again, like I said, there's other, you know, you can learn more and probably get more questions answered by going to the website and checking out the frequently asked questions, or the fact section there. So I'll go ahead and let you translate that.
Entre las preguntas más notables se encuentra en si este tipo de programa es compensado. Si es compensado, se le va a estar compensando a la persona $15 por hora por el tiempo que están poniendo en la lectura y también en persona. También va a haber fondos disponibles para cuidado de niños si es que se necesita, y también va a haber fondos disponibles para transportación si la transportación es un obstáculo. Otra de las cosas que la Shell estaba mencionando es que ellos proveen todos los ingredientes y también todo el equipo de cocina. Entonces, en realidad no tienen que comprar nada, no tienen que pagar nada. Se les va a pagar a ustedes por atender.
Thank you. So next up we have, oh, keep clicking on the link here. Let's see. All right, so, oh, this went out of order. I wanted to bring on our partners, and I'm actually, due to time, I'm actually gonna flip it. We were gonna talk to our community partners first, but I wanna go ahead and start with our school partners. And the first school partner is Minneapolis Public Schools, and we have Bertrand Weber and Kate Siebold on the line to talk a little bit about their perspective and maybe answering these questions that we have here. So yeah, welcome Kate and Bertrand. Are you guys muted still?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. I'm Kate Siebold, and I think Bertrand is likely unmuting himself as well.
I just did.
Okay.
Welcome, everyone. It's great to know that there are so many people interested in this wonderful opportunity that the Good Acre is providing, and really making an effort to not just you know, make some changes in school, but really help with our community and some awesome job opportunities in schools. In Minneapolis, we have transitioned from a heat and serve process environment to doing a lot more of fresh scratch cooking using wonderful ingredients from local farms. Do you want to translate that?
Yes, definitely.
I'll just stop periodically, so make sure you have a chance.
Thank you. Ahora va a estar hablando las personas del distrito de las escuelas públicas de Minneapolis. Él estaba comentando que en Minneapolis están empezando a trabajar con ingredientes más naturales y es parte de la razón que están colaborando con Good Acre.
So this program is wonderful because schools in general are still having a hard time finding great staff in our kitchen. And I think that school or a career in school is kind of one of those hidden treasure that a lot of people are not aware that there is great career opportunities in a school kitchen. So when I look at what is a day in the life of a school chef like, so, you know, it really depends by the school and by the location, and hopefully Roseville will chime in after we're done. But we serve breakfast, we serve lunch, we serve supper in some of our school. So your day can start really early, getting breakfast ready for students. And that could be making scrambled eggs, that could be making toast, it could be just putting some cereals in bowls and getting your prep done. And it could be your mise en place for the lunch, it could be prep for the following day. It could be anything from tossing chicken with a wonderful homemade marinade, or making homemade pizzas, prepping for a salad bar, and that could involve a lot of chopping and dicing of vegetables, and just making sure that we're ready to serve our students for their meal period. Unlike a restaurant, we serve a very high volume of customers in a very short period of time. And I'll pause.
Él estaba compartiendo por qué cree que este programa es buenísimo, y estaba compartiendo también las razones y más que nada los tipos de comida que se sirven en las escuelas. Él estaba comentando que en las escuelas se prepara desde desayuno hasta almuerzos y cenas. Y en algunas escuelas también se puede comparar como a un restaurante donde hay mucha gente que se tiene que servir en muy poquito tiempo. Entonces puede ser de que en la mañana estén preparando huevos, en el almuerzo estén preparando otra cosa diferente, pero también la preparación toma tiempo y puede ser desde cortar vegetales hasta estar preparando lo que viene siendo las comidas que se van a distribuir.
Thank you. So when we look at, and I'm going to leave some time for Kate to talk about some of the work that we're doing with our farmers and why it's so important to have cooks and prep cooks and lead cooks that have great culinary schools to help in the preparation of the local ingredients. With common job expectation, safety is number one. We have to make sure that safety is there. We need productivity to make sure that we get all of our food done on time. And knowledge, basic cooking knowledge, to ensure that the food we serve to our students is top quality. Internship right now, and I think as Rochelle said earlier, is so unsure. Currently, because of the pandemic, unfortunately, our schools will not be cooking in the fall, and we'll be preparing all of our food in the central kitchen. But if we were in full mode, a internship would be full hands-on, going through all of the stages of a kitchen, from prepping food to cooking food, to serving food, to reading recipes, to scaling recipes up and down, understanding ordering, understanding what a production record is, minimizing waste, and maximizing all the food that we do. So it's really looking at every facet of what a cook does in a school. Career path can lead, I currently on staff, I have a chef, I have an executive chef, I have a sous chef. We have about 20 lead cooks that are leading and directing their kitchens. We have approximately 30 cooks, school cooks. We have production cooks that do a lot of large production scale food. So it does offer opportunity beyond what people used to think of school food. The days of the lunch lady, I think, and I cherish those, but have moved on to now we have true food professionals in school environment.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bertrand, for all of that good insight. Kate, did you have something that you wanted to add around farm to school?
Sure, yeah, I can chime in quickly. So as Bertrand mentioned, we serve a lot of fresh produce, and a lot of that produce comes from our farm to school program. And so I think our staff have a really unique opportunity to get to work with, not just baby carrots or things that you might oftentimes associate with school lunch, but we bring in over 40 different varieties of fresh local produce into our school kitchens. And so our staff get to, slice cucumbers, dice carrots, prepare beets, roasting them, steaming them, serving things in our salad bar. And so culinary skill is really important for handling all of these items and preparing them in delicious ways for our students. And I also think our staff play a really important role as educators for our students too, and encouraging students to want to try something. Sometimes it's even trying a fruit or vegetable or something that you've made yourself to kind of set an example for the students. But really the role that you're playing in the students' lives is critical for the food skills and the food interests that they develop and carry forward with them into their adult lives.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bertrand and Kate. I'm gonna go ahead and bring Maria Anderson. Oh, wait, oh God. I think my slides were out of order there. And actually this says Angela on here, but we're actually talking to Maria Anderson from Roseville area schools. And Maria, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So, and just so you know, can you clarify? Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't get the translation from that last one. I'm sorry. I think I moved too fast. Sarah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. La persona anterior estaba compartiendo que los cocineros y la educación culinaria es importante porque ahorita ellos están enfocados en la seguridad, productividad y conocimiento para servir la comida de calidad en las escuelas. Entonces, él hablaba de que ahorita en el otoño no van a estar cocinando en las escuelas del distrito de Minneapolis, pero ellos si estuvieran o en el pasado, más que nada lo que hacían es que servían la comida ellos mismos y también iban desde tener sus 2 chefs líderes y también cocineros líderes y cocineros que también sacaban más que nada un gran volumen de comida. Él estaba compartiendo que todas las personas que estaban trabajando con ellos ahora sabían utilizar más que nada vegetales frescos, más allá de lo que conocemos que son las comidas de las escuelas, que tal vez solamente incluían zanahorias. Ahora ellos usan más vegetales para cocinar sus alimentos que se están proveyendo a los estudiantes, y también que son parte de lo que están haciendo con Good Acre en términos de obtener la comida de estos granjeros que es fresca. Go ahead.
Great. So Maria, I know Bertrand and Kate talked a lot, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that they talk about that are going to be applicable and similar at Roseville. But is there anything you want to elaborate on that might look different at Roseville, is specifically what a day in the life of a school chef looks like?
Yeah, certainly. But first, I was just thinking this afternoon how excited I was and looking forward for this webinar with everyone listening today. It's been so nice to think about something other than pandemic planning and just thinking about all the scratch cooking and local products we purchase and the idea of having interns in our kitchen that are really excited about learning about our food systems and school foods. It was just so nice to think about this afternoon. So I'm really thankful that you guys are taking time this evening. It's gorgeous outside to sit in on this. Yeah, it just makes me really excited for school food and able to think through, you know, what these next few months will look like. Probably won't be, you know, our most exciting food we're feeding kiddos, but knowing like this is coming down the road is just really exciting for me. But as far as the program goes, and you know what, I'll let you translate that first.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you. María es de las escuelas del área de Roseville. Ella estaba compartiendo que le entusiasma más que nada estar aquí en este webinar porque es algo diferente al planeamiento que usualmente están haciendo, que incluye lo de la pandemia. Ella estaba compartiendo de que en realidad le gusta la idea de cocinar natural con productos locales. Go ahead, Maria.
All right. Yeah, so school food, one of the wonderful things about it is when you are trained in this internship, you're going to acquire skills that are going to be applicable to any school district. And so whether you spend time in the Roseville kitchens or in the Minneapolis kitchens, you're going to be learning a lot of the similar skills. And I think that's great for career outlook. You're not going to just be able to work in Roseville schools or just be able to work in Minneapolis schools. So that's one thing I wanted to add a little bit. And then back to common job expectations. Safety and good food, safe food is of course number one, but also the expectation that you're willing to be really part of the educational day. So you're not just serving food to kiddos, you're nourishing them to get them ready to learn, but also using food as that learning tool. And that's something that we really hold our staff accountable for, as they are part of the education system. Lunch and breakfast and supper aren't separate. They're really part of that school day.
Awesome.
María acaba de compartir que en las escuelas, más que nada con este tipo de entrenamiento, las habilidades que van a ganar después del entrenamiento no solamente se van a usar en las escuelas de Roseville, son habilidades que van a tomar con ustedes y que van a poder aplicar en cualquier distrito. Como en todo, la seguridad es esencial. Pero una cosa que ella reconoce es que también están ayudando y apoyando a nutrir a los estudiantes de las escuelas y que la nutrición es una herramienta para todos los estudiantes y están ustedes ayudando a crear esas herramientas para que también los estudiantes puedan salir adelante en su día escolar.
Yeah, and the last thing I just wanted to add is really Roseville and Minneapolis are similar, but the one thing that you'll find different working in Roseville is we don't have that large central kitchen. So everything is cooked in their own schools, except just like Minneapolis this year, we will be really consolidating this year with schools not being open. So we will be cooking large quantities from some of our biggest kitchens, but we don't have a central prep space unlike Minneapolis. So I think that's all I have for our program, just because we are pretty similar to what Minneapolis is doing.
Awesome.
María compartió, go ahead, Lachelle.
Go ahead.
María compartió que en las escuelas de Roseville, una cosa que los hace diferentes a las escuelas de Minneapolis es que ellos cuentan con sus propias cocinas en las escuelas donde en cada escuela. Dice que no forman parte de una cocina grande como las escuelas de Minneapolis y cada escuela provee su propia comida, pero ahora por la pandemia van a estar utilizando cocinas más grandes para poder proveer esa comida a diferentes escuelas que son más pequeñas.
Thank you, Sarahi, and thank you, Maria and Kate and Bertrand, for giving us that perspective on schools. The one piece I do want to say is that I know, we're in pandemic times, but I definitely just want to acknowledge all of the work that schools do to provide nutrition to students, even in the pandemic times. I know a lot of schools are still cooking and still providing food. And so, even though, we're not in full force right now, with all of that, a lot of that work is, a lot of food is still being prepared and gotten out to students. And this is actually, not a bad time to actually get the training done, so that when I do anticipate that one day we'll be back in schools, maybe not as soon as we think, but eventually, and those school kitchens will need more skilled workers to continue these efforts. So.
La Shell estaba compartiendo que aunque ahorita no se estén preparando las comidas en todas las escuelas, es ahorita un buen tiempo en el que podemos invertir el tiempo en este tipo de programa porque podemos aprender y eventualmente las escuelas y las cocinas van a empezar a reabrir. Entonces, ¿qué mejor tiempo que ahora para poder aprender sobre este programa?
Thank you. So thank you so much to our school partners. Now I want to talk a bit to our community partners. I'm not sure, I don't think Meg made it on. So we do have Meg from Cornerstone. So we're going to talk to our partners at Casa de Esperanza. So Sarahi and Maria wanted to just maybe chat a little bit. We don't have a lot of time, so I don't know that we're going to go into all of these questions, but I think the biggest one that would love for you to speak on is, why you're excited about this program and how you think participants will benefit.
A continuación vamos a escuchar un poquito más de nuestra agencia que está colaborando con nosotros y es Casa de Esperanza, una de ellas. María va a compartir un poquito sobre lo que en realidad ve ella que las participantes se puedan beneficiar de este programa.
Hi everyone. Well, thank you so much, Lachelle, for putting this together, and also Sarai for translating. I know that it can be challenging at times.
Thank you, María. María acaba de compartir, pues gracias por darnos el tiempo y también por poner esta información. También, María, puedes continuar.
And well, one of the things I think that, a few months ago when the program was presented to Casa Esperanza, everyone in the staff, we were very excited and we were like, okay, when are we able to present this option to the participants? I think that one of the things that we were really excited is that they're able to really use the empowering education for them while also getting paid, which sometimes it is challenging, to get educated or find those skills while at the same time being able to get a paycheck, being able to network with other peers and also with the school. I think that this network will be very empowering for the participants. We're also really excited. I'm really excited for my participants to also get to know, this type of program that perhaps they wouldn't have been able to do it in the past, and also the benefits that they will be able to obtain if they succeed with the program as well as with the internship.
Bien. María acaba de compartir que nos emociona bastante a Casa de Esperanza poder traer algo así para ustedes, porque no solamente estamos pensando en los beneficios que ustedes van a obtener del entrenamiento y el trabajo, sino que también en realidad de las habilidades que van a quedar con ustedes después del programa y que van a poder implementar en su propio uso también.
Thank you so much, Maria. And again, Sarahi for translating. I'm going to go ahead and have Meg talk a little bit about Cornerstone and ultimately, you know, talk a little bit about your perspective on, you know, what you're excited about and how you think participants will benefit from the program. So welcome, Meg. I'm glad you were able to get on and join us. Oh, are you muted? Let's see.
Ahora Meg de la agencia de Cornerstone nos va a hablar un poquito también sobre lo que ella espera de este programa. Entonces vamos a esperar a que Meg venga al micrófono.
Let me see. Can I unmute? Oh, where'd she go? She sent us a.
I think she might be in the
Oh, she's in the
attendee
attendees.
column. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Meg, I'm going to go ahead and promote you to a panelist. All right. Now, Meg, you should be able to. Where are you at here? There you are.
Thank you, Michelle.
There you are. All right, we got
I
you.
could not find my video or the speaker, so I didn't know what I was doing wrong there, but thank you.
Thank you for making it happen anyway.
No, of course, I popped on just a tad bit late, but so apologize. But wow, how incredibly wonderful to hear all of that actually as you walk through it. And I think it is so amazing from the time I had a little infancy conversation, I don't know, it's like 2 years ago now almost, to see where we're at. So it's very exciting. I am going to tell you my favorite school lunch meal always was Sloppy Joe's. I still like them to this day. But I'm excited about this whole program, really, to see what is going to happen for our participants at Cornerstone. Cornerstone serves individuals who've been impacted by domestic violence, sexual violence, human trafficking. And we have a whole array of programs, transitional housing, emergency shelter. We have a lot of economic empowerment services that really are focused on helping individuals become stabilized over time. And it is so hard and there's so many barriers. So when a program like this is available, where not only are they going to receive a stipend to participate, but they're coming out with some real skills, the potential of a real job that makes sense for so many of our families who, you know, often have young children. And so being able to have sort of daytime work really is an incredible opportunity. I think also the way that this program was built and designed, and I think you've just been so incredibly thoughtful, Michelle, around just the supports that are needed to stay in a program, you know, 24 hours a week, around the child care and some of the transportation needs. I mean, our families obviously have tremendous barriers around some of the trauma that they've experienced, but I think they are motivated and interested in moving forward, and they have, you know, barriers that prevent them from doing it. And I think this program is going to help take some of those barriers away while also provide some really tremendous training opportunities and connections with others as the program goes on. So I'm really excited. I know all of the staff that I've been sharing this with are really excited about it and already are starting to be the sounding piece to make sure that we have a good cohort that applies and hopefully some that get accepted to be a part of this. So thanks so much. Looking forward to it all.
Meg es la directora de la Agencia de Violencia Doméstica de Cornerstone. Cornerstone tiene varios programas que también sirven a víctimas de violencia doméstica, asalto sexual y tráfico humano. Ella estaba compartiendo que está emocionadísima de todos los beneficios que este programa puede proveer, incluyendo la eliminación de las barreras que hay como la transportación y el cuidado de niños. Y ella dice que está emocionada de que podemos brindar este tipo de programa para las participantes y personas en su agencia están súper emocionadas también de esto.
Thank you, Meg.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maria, Sarahi. Thank you all so much for chiming in and really sharing your excitement. I'm excited. I'm glad that, you know, despite how challenging this year has been, that we're still continuing and moving forward with this great opportunity. So thank you so much for joining us and chiming in there. To move along, I know we're like right a little bit after 7, so I don't want to oh, sorry, got distracted. I don't want to take up too much time, but I do want to open it up for questions for people. If whoever can stay on, if our panelists can stay on a little longer just to answer questions that participants might have, we can give it another 5 to 10 minutes for questions and answers. I don't know what might have came through in the chat.
I can help you with that, Lachelle. I've been kind of writing them down as they've come in.
Great,
This is Anna.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first one, Sarahi, do you want to translate that a little bit?
Y si está bien, yo podría también asistir con la traducción.
Okay. Thanks,
This is
Maria.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, a continuación,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Lachelle estaba comentando a continuación, si está bien con ustedes, las personas que puedan continuar en la sesión son libres de quedarse, pero también queremos respetar su tiempo. Si llegan a tener una pregunta, la pueden escribir o la pueden decir en español y yo puedo asistir con la traducción. Go ahead.
Perfect. So the first question we had from Dimitri was, what time of day will those Zoom lectures be, Lachelle?
The Zoom lectures are going to be, I think I have them around 10 to noon. And then the first one at the orientation will be 10 to 2. And that will be, we're still solidifying the days of the week that it will be, but it's likely going to be on that Monday or Tuesday of each week. I'm leaning, we're initially, when we were doing in person, we were leaning towards having like a Tuesday through Friday week schedule. But now that it's going to be online, kind of have the more of the whole week. So I'm thinking that we're going to start those lectures on Mondays from 10 to noon.
Y la primera pregunta fue en relación a cuándo es de que las clases a través de Zoom tomarían lugar. Y la contestación de Lachelle nos comenta de que en este momento están todavía en la fase tentativa, pero están planeando que sean de 10 al mediodía. Originalmente se había pensado que sería de martes a jueves, de 10 de la mañana al mediodía, pero todavía están tratando de solidizar.
Perfect. Another question we had from a couple people, sounds like a couple people are already ServSafe certified. So I think they were wondering, will they still participate in that part of the class, or is there kind of another situation for folks who already have that certification?
Yeah, if they already have the certification, that's wonderful. And that'll ultimately be less work for them to do. And we can, work that out. But yeah, if they already have the certification, they won't need, it'll be great for them to, review and just make sure they're up on the current regulations and the current, the food safety regulations sometimes have updates each year. So there will be pieces to that they want to make sure that they're on point with. And then in regards to the certification, if they are not in need of recertifying or renewing their certification, then we can work on waiving that part of them needing to go through that, but we'll work that out as needed. But yeah, you won't need to retake the exam if you've already taken it. But if you do need to renew, because every 3 years you have to go through continuing education and go through 4 hours of training, so we can work that out for those people to renew. And so that'll be something we'll deal with on a case-by-case basis.
Y la otra pregunta es en relación para aquellas personas que ya cuentan con la certificación de sirviendo seguro. Lo que comenta es de que en este momento, si usted ya tiene su certificado, no es necesario que tome esa clase. estarían viendo la manera para que se le pueda dar como ese crédito. Sin embargo, si usted se encuentra en el tiempo, porque cada 3 años se tienen que hacer créditos, les pueden ayudar para que puedan obtener la recertificación. Si es de que usted no necesita hacer el de renovarlo, pero entonces no tendría que tomar ninguna de las clases.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Do we
Maria.
have other
Okay.
questions, Anna?
Yeah, another one was, and Bertrand answered this partly, but the question was, is English necessary? Speaking English necessary? Bertrand said for working at MPS at least, kind of a basic understanding of English and then just the ability to read recipes. So I think that indicates to me that, you know, not necessarily fluency, but sort of basic English. And maybe if Maria's still on, maybe Maria could speak to that too. But Lachelle, if you want to take a first crack at that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that really is based on the schools and what they require for employment. And so, Maria, can you possibly chime in on that?
Yeah. Yep. Yes, I would say basic English. We do have quite a few employees who I would say English is very limited, but we do a lot of hands-on training. And so as long as we find a way to communicate within the kitchen, we are fine. We don't test, our district doesn't do any fluency testing or anything for our positions.
Y la pregunta siguiente sería en relación si es necesario el hablar inglés. Primero contestó la persona por parte del distrito de Minneapolis y comenta de que en realidad no es necesario que sean completamente fluentes, pero sí es necesario de que tengan la habilidad y para poder entenderlo y que tengan como que hablen un inglés básico que les permita leer las recetas y también como comunicarse dentro de la cocina. Después María de el distrito de Roseville comentó de que el distrito de ellos no hace tampoco ningún tipo de examen para ver si usted es fluyente en inglés, pero sí les piden de que tengan ese inglés básico que les permite comunicarse dentro de la cocina, atender algún tipo de entrenamientos y también el de leer las recetas. También comenta de que tienen varios empleados que tienen un inglés ilimitado, pero sí se pueden comunicar en la cocina y sí pueden leer las recetas.
Perfect. Thanks, Maria.
Excellent. Thank you. And just also, so you know, when it comes to the training and the English, so with the Ruby training, we did get the Ruby platform that does have, I think, up to 20 languages. So we can convert that online training into Spanish or other languages. And then also ServeSafe can also be administered in Spanish. I don't know how many other languages they have. I have to double check on that. And then we can always work with advocates and our community organizational partners to fill in any gaps as far as what might need it for translation, just to make sure people are successful in getting through the content and the curriculum for the training. But then when it comes to, you know, again, like they said, functioning in the school kitchens, those basic, you know, understanding and recipe reading skills are going to be key.
Y sí me gustaría agregar que, por ejemplo, el entrenamiento que va a ser en línea tiene la capacidad para trasladarse o para interpretarse a 28 idiomas, en una de ellas el español. Entonces, todos los materiales en línea se pueden traducir. También, si usted no cuenta con la certificación de Sirviendo Seguro o ese diploma, también cuentan con la forma de traducirlo para que usted pueda obtener la certificación. Y después, por ejemplo, si hay algún otro tipo de necesidad donde exista esa brecha o esa barrera del idioma, es también donde las agencias comunitarias como Casa de Esperanza y Cornerstone van a estar facilitando para asegurarse de que el idioma no sea una barrera. Pero obviamente, pues sí es para poder funcionar dentro de la cocina, sí es esencial que entiendan inglés básico y que también puedan leer las recetas.
Cool. And then I think I'll combine, Lily kind of had two questions about further training. And so those were kind of one, with some of this training being online, what if, when I finish it, I feel like I need more training? Is there an option to kind of train again or get some more training? And then similarly, is there like an annual recertification or some way to continue to get more education about this? And that might be another thing Maria could chime in on with kind of some School Nutrition Association trainings or something like that. But I'll let you take that first part, Lachelle, about feeling like kind of what if I don't feel, yeah.
So just to, give some insight, this is a pilot program. So this will be our first time administering this. It doesn't exist as far as I know anywhere else. So we have, the point of this is really for us to really launch and build a sustainable program, but ultimately to learn as we pilot it. And so if there are pieces that someone feels that they need more training on, then that's the feedback that we want to get from participants so that we can develop the training more. In regards to, advancing that training, the intention is for participants to get through the program, graduate, and have learned long-term placement in schools. And schools, and Maria again, or even Kate could potentially, chime in more on this, but I know there is continuing education requirements for people in nutrition services. Some of that stuff we actually do through the Good Acre and provide culinary training. Also, we're not official yet, but working to get this program accredited so that all of the hours that are put in for this program go towards, continuing education for people on a greater career and professional development level. But I'll let Maria and Kate chime in on what other opportunities for career development and just professional development you might have. And Sarahi to translate all that first.
Y una de las cosas, sorry, I think I was mute. Pero una de las cosas es de que es una excelente pregunta porque este programa es piloto. Entonces, obviamente, si existe tal vez al final de que se complete este programa, si la persona siente que necesita más entrenamiento o que necesita o que le gustaría más bien tener más entrenamiento, ese es el tipo de retroalimentación o el tipo de comentarios que ellos quieren escuchar, porque ella no conoce en ningún otro estado que exista este programa. Entonces, como es un programa piloto, sí se necesita de que nos comuniquen ese tipo de sentimientos y el tipo de opiniones que ustedes sientan al terminar el programa. Después comento también que va a dejar ahorita en un momento hablar a María y posiblemente a Kate para que hablen si es de que existen otras formas de desarrollo profesional que existan dentro de sus distritos que puedan completar anualmente. And go ahead.
I can answer that quickly. Yes, all schools are required to provide training. And I know in Roseville, we offer about 12 hours a year for all our staff in training, from culinary training to professional development, communication, management styles. And then there's also a host of free trainings available to you from the Institute of Child Nutrition that we often send our employees to that are looking for more learning opportunities, and those are all at no cost.
Y sí, nosotros en el distrito escolar de Roseville, a todos los empleados se les requiere que completen 12 horas cada año de entrenamiento, y estas horas de entrenamiento incluyen desde comunicación hasta el manejamiento del personal, y también si la persona tiene el deseo, también se les puede referir o para que ellas continúen con el Instituto de la Nutrición. Y este tipo de entrenamiento serían gratuitos si usted está trabajando con el distrito de Roseville.
Awesome. Maybe I'll give you one final question, Lachelle, and then I'm actually hoping that maybe Maria or Sarahi could help me with Myra's most recent question. But in the meantime, I'll ask, Dimitri wants to know, is there any prior qualifications or experience necessary?
No, the only qualifications that are really required is, what schools will require, which is, this training is helpful to that. And also, I think, Maria, if you could speak to if there's any other qualifications besides like some sort of high school diploma or equivalency, or are there other requirements but for the program, honestly, it's the point is to provide this program and reduce the barriers for participants. So we definitely want to eliminate any issues there. But Maria, if you can chime in if there's any other basic requirements for people applying for jobs in schools, and of course Sarahi to translate first.
Y una de las preguntas que nos comentaban es el que si existen algún tipo de requerimientos para que puedan participar en este entrenamiento. De lo que yo sé es de que no existe ningún tipo más que participen en este programa, pero para no adelantar voy a permitirle a María de que también hable y nos comparta si hay algún otro tipo de entrenamiento o algún tipo de requerimiento que ellos pidan. Go ahead.
Hiring in schools, we don't, Roseville does not have any guideline or any like restrictions. We do a background check. But something on your background, something that comes up on your background check does not necessarily completely eliminate you from being qualified or considered for the position. But we do require a background check. But what is on the background check might not have any effect on your hiring status. And I know every district is a little bit different. Some districts do require a GED for their positions or a high school diploma. But, oh, sorry, my dog's barking. But we do not.
Excellent. So that's great. That's great to know. And I don't know, is Kate still on?
Michelle, can I translate the answer?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Y para contestar la respuesta acerca de si hay algún tipo de requerimientos, María por parte del distrito de Roseville comenta de que Roseville no tiene ningún otro tipo de requerimientos, solamente si hacen antecedentes penales, que van a revisar sus antecedentes penales, pero sí le gustaría aclarar que si hay algo en su récord, que tal vez usted tenga algo, no significa de que la va a descalificar del programa inmediatamente. Entonces, si usted está interesada, lo puede hacer aunque haya algo en sus antecedentes penales.
Excellent. So, Kate, are you still on?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Hi.
For Minneapolis Public Schools, like Maria said, we do a background check. And I actually believe that our district does require a GED. And I can certainly after this confirm that and let you know, Lachelle. But I'm quite certain that we do, but it's also possible that things have changed. So I can confirm and let you know.
Okay, great. We'll follow up and we can probably get that into the FAQs on the website. So people can get that question answered going forward. But I'll let you translate again, Ms. Rahi.
Y Kate, por parte del Distrito Escolar de Minneapolis, dice de que está casi segura de que ellos sí requieren que usted tenga su certificado de la escuela secundaria, o también si tiene su GED, su GED, que diga de que sí tiene, pero no está segura. Después de esta reunión ella va a revisar y nos estaría confirmando si es de que sí es requerido o si no es requerido. And then I believe that there is some questions on the chat.
Yeah, I know Anna is fielding that. She's answering a lot of them in the
Yeah,
chat, but
answered
Anna,
a
if there's
few.
other, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Lachelle. I've answered a few as we've gone. The one that I didn't quite know what Myra was trying to say, Maria, was when she said, podrían considerar este horario para dar la capacitación. Maybe you understand what she's getting at there.
Yeah, she's asking if we would consider this time to offer the Zoom meetings or the
For the
training.
training.
Oh, like in the
In
evening.
the evening
Like
rather
in the
than in the
evening.
daytime. Yeah, we can consider that. That's great feedback. And we haven't solidified the exact time. So I'll definitely, I appreciate that feedback. Yes.
Y sí, Mayra, gracias por su opinión, porque sí, definitivamente sí se puede considerar, no se había considerado, entonces le agradecemos de que nos comparta su opinión.
Yeah, I'm definitely flexible.
¿Alguien más que tenga alguna pregunta que le gustaría escribirla en la cajita de preguntas?
Yeah, and we can also, happy to answer another question or two here. And then if anyone also has a follow-up question later, feel free to send those to Meg or Maria or Saraki or directly to Lachelle, and we're happy to answer those via email or give somebody a call.
Y también como recordatorio, si tiene alguna otra pregunta, después de que termine esta sesión informativa, nos puede dejar saber a las personas de Good Acre y también a las personas de Casa Esperanza o de Cornerstone, si están interesados.
Excellent. And just to kind of put it out there, I know it was asked in the chat, but what are next steps? Next steps are that we're taking applications, and that can all be done through our website, through the programs and the vocational training program. At the bottom of the page there's an application. There's a English and a Spanish version of the application. We do ask in the application for participants to tell us what organization they're applying as a part of. And then we definitely welcome advocates and organizations to assist or even help submit those applications with and for their participants.
Y una de las cosas que nos preguntaron en la cajita de preguntas y también durante la sesión informativa es cuál es el siguiente paso. Entonces, el siguiente paso es de que se tendría que llenar la aplicación. Si es de que usted está segura de que sí quiere participar, y de verdad que los invitamos, si usted se siente cómoda en realizarla, ya sea usted misma por internet o si necesita la asistencia por parte de alguna de las agencias comunitarias, también cualquiera de las intercesoras, ya sea yo, Saraí o las personas de Cornerstone que las puedan apoyar, pero la aplicación está o va a estar en español y en inglés.
Great. So was there any one last question or two, Anna? That
I think we're covered.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, so maybe I'll add a question of my own, which was a few people asked and I answered in the chat as best I could, but kind of what's the next step and maybe what's the deadline for applying?
Yep. So like I said, next step is the application process, and then the deadline for that is, and actually I think I have it here on a slide. The deadline for that is September 17th. And so in late September, it's actually early October, we will have an orientation. So by the end of September, we'll be notifying we'll go through, I'm sorry, let me back up. September 17th is the date, the deadline for applications to come in. And then we'll take about 2 weeks to screen and go through like the application process and ultimately make the selection of who those 8 participants will be. And then we'll notify. We also are building a wait list. So we don't ever want to, really not approve anyone for the program, but we might have reached capacity and then might need to put people on wait lists for future cohorts. And, also through that application process, want to make sure people are, ready for the rigor of this program. I'll let you translate that for everyone.
Y una de las, bueno, la siguiente pregunta era una recapitulación de los siguientes pasos. Entonces, una fecha importante es septiembre 17, porque este sería el último día que usted tiene para poder someter su aplicación. Y después de septiembre 17 va a tomar como alrededor de 2 semanas en lo que revisan las aplicaciones y que le darían la bienvenida a las personas que estarían siendo parte del primer programa, y solamente van a aceptar a 8 esta vez, dependiendo de las aplicaciones, si es de que hay más o menos. Se estaría haciendo como una lista de espera, si es de que usted no es aceptada para la primera, para el primer cohorto de participantes.
Yeah, and so, you know, initially we were planning to have 16 participants, but due to COVID, we had to reduce that down to 8. But again, looking to build this program out to be, you know, a long-term program where we can get multiple cohorts going throughout the year. And so, you know, that's the goal as we build it out.
Y originalmente la idea era de tener a 16 personas dentro de nuestro primer programa, pero a causa de el coronavirus hemos decidido reducirlo a 8 personas. Entonces, todavía dependiendo de cómo las cosas avancen, es de que se va a continuar.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, applications are, deadline is September 17th. Then through the end of the month, we will do that screening and make the selection. And then actually our orientation will be, I believe it's October 6th. So we'll have a Zoom orientation to get people kind of prepared to start the program. And then we're looking to start on the week of October 13th. Again, the dates, you know, may shift based on finalizing everything, but that's what we're looking at.
Y para volver a mencionar, el último día para someter las aplicaciones sería en septiembre 17. Nos estaría tomando un par de días en lo que revisamos las aplicaciones, y más o menos se está planeando que la orientación tome lugar el 6 de octubre y sería también por Zoom, y le estaríamos dando inicio al programa el 13 de octubre. Pero otra vez, todavía las fechas pueden cambiar y también los horarios.
Great. And so I just want to quickly show people, just so you know what that looks like to access the application. Actually, let me launch it here. So if you go to the, oh, too many windows popping up. What's happening? No.
Y lo que voy a hacer ahorita es de que les voy a estar mostrando cómo se ve la aplicación que usted puede acceder en línea.
Just show you really quick to get to the application. And I know Anna put a link in the chat to the application, but I'll just show you really quickly here. So you're going to go to thegoodacre.org. You're going to go to programs here, click on vocational culinary training. And then you can get, you know, read the information about the program, learn how it works. There's frequently asked questions here. You can learn about me, but at the bottom here, this is our application for participants. And so you can click there. And again, we do have the Spanish version. I think we might have to put that, I don't know. Is that link right here, Anna, or is there?
I was thinking we might need to add it, yeah, to the website.
Yeah,
the
so we'll be adding a link for the Spanish application. But Anna did put that in the chat. And so people can get that, and we'll have that link to the Spanish application up here on the website soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll try to do that as early as tomorrow.
If you want to translate that, Sarahi, I can kind of scroll up and down here.
Y solamente les quería mostrar, esta sería la página en la que ustedes pueden ingresar, que es The Good Acre, y solamente en la primera página buscarían a dónde se van sorry, point of clarification. What was the next that you click to go into the program?
Yep, so I'm just going back in. So the Good Acre, and then go to programs, and then they click on vocational culinary training.
Entonces ingresarían a la primera página y después en la parte derecha se van a donde dice entrenamiento vocacional. Y no está en español, pero dice Vocational Culinary Training. Le dan clic ahí y si pueden darle hasta abajo, es donde van a encontrar toda la selección. También van a ver una fotografía de la Shell, donde pueden aprender más acerca de la historia de ella. Y en la parte izquierda van a encontrar la aplicación.
Yep, and then Sorahi and Maria, you guys have that link, the application, the Spanish application. So until we up on the site, participants can contact you all to get that for now with that, or they can contact me also to get that and any assistance they might need with filling out the application.
Y en este momento la aplicación no está en español puesta en su sistema de internet, pero si a usted le gustaría realizar la aplicación en español, se puede conectar con Saraí o conmigo o también con la Shell para poder darles la accesibilidad y la aplicación.
Okay, that was Maria that did that translation.
Yep. It has been Maria for a little bit, Michelle.
Oh, has it? I haven't even looked. Okay.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Para los participantes, nosotros ya tenemos la aplicación en español, así es que si alguien está interesada de aplicar, por favor háganos saber para que nosotros podamos mandarles la aplicación por correo electrónico o también podamos asistirles en llenar esas aplicaciones porque ya la tenemos accesible.
Excellent. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up now. Thank you so much to everyone that participated, that came and attended, and to learn more and ask questions. If you have further questions, you can direct those to your advocates or me directly. I want to give a special thanks to Sarahi and Maria for their translation, and ultimately all of our panelists for coming and adding their perspective and excitement to this webinar. So thank you all so much.
Y con eso, pues sí me gustaría ya concluir. Vamos a darles también un agradecimiento muy especial a Saraí que estuvo traduciendo también al final conmigo y también a todos los presentadores que estuvieron el día de hoy acompañándonos.
Thank you all so much. And
gracias a todos.
Oh, say that again.
Sorry, I just said thank you all in Spanish.
Oh. Yes, thank you all so much, and we look forward to receiving your applications. Please share the program, knowing that you know we have limited spaces, but we're building a list for people to wait. So, thank you.
Sepan
Right, go ahead.
Y sepan a todos de que aunque tenemos espacios limitados, todavía pues va a estar la lista de espera si es de que hay más personas interesadas.
All right. Thanks everyone. Have a great night.